was true, why wasn't anyone talking about it? He had no memory of hearing about the issue from his father, a three-term senator from Tennessee who later served as chairman of an Ohio coal company. Once in office, Gore figured that if Revell gave the same lecture before Congress, his colleagues would be moved to act, or at least that the hearing would get picked up by one of the three major national news broadcasts. Gore's hearing was part of a larger campaign he had designed with his staff director, Tom Grumbly. After winning his third term in 1980, Gore was granted his first leadership position, albeit a modest one, chairman of an oversight subcommittee within the Committee on Science and Technology, a subcommittee that he had lobbied to create. Most members of Congress considered the Science Committee a legislative backwater, if they considered it at all. This made Gore's subcommittee, which had no legislative authority, an afterthought to an afterthought. That, Gore vowed, would change. Environmental and health stories had all the elements of narrative drama: villains, victims, and heroes. In a hearing, you could summon all three, with the chairman serving as narrator, chorus, and moral authority. Gore told Grumbly that he wanted to hold a hearing every week. It was like storyboarding episodes of a procedural drama. Grumbly gamely assembled a list of subjects that possessed the necessary dramatic elements. A Massachusetts cancer researcher who faked his results, the dangers of excessive salt in the American diet, the disappearance of an airplane on Long Island. All fit Gore's template, all had sizzle. "What about the greenhouse effect?" asked Gore. The issue was apolitical and could not have higher stakes. It seemed certain to get headlines. Grumbly demurred. "There are no villains," he said. "Besides, who's your victim?" "If we don't do something," said Gore, "we're all going to be the victims." He didn't say, "If we don't do something, we'll be the villains too." The Revell hearing, convened on July 31, 1980, at 9:30 a.m. in a small subcommittee room on the second floor of the Rayburn House office building, went as Grumbly had predicted. The urgency of the issue was lost on Gore's senior colleagues, who drifted in and out of the room, and consciousness, while the witnesses testified. There were few people left in the gallery by the time the Brookings economist Lester Lave warned that humankind's profligate exploitation of fossil fuels posed an existential test to human nature. Carbon dioxide stands as a symbol now of our willingness to confront the future, he said, and especially of our willingness to consider problems that will not be manifest until after the next election. It will be a sad day when we decide that we just don't have the time or thoughtfulness to address those issues. At the end of this particular sad day, Gore's hearing failed to make the nightly news broadcasts, which chose instead to cover the resolution of the baseball strike, the ongoing budgetary debate, and the national surplus of butter. A few months later, Gore found another opening. Staff members on the Science Committee heard that the White House planned to eliminate the Energy Department's carbon dioxide program. If they could put a hearing together quickly enough, they figured they could shame the administration before it could execute its plan. The front-page Times article about James Hansen's paper had proved that there was a national audience for the carbon dioxide problem. It just had to be framed correctly. Hansen could occupy the role of hero, a sober, consummate scientist who had seen the future and sought to rouse the world to action. A villain was emerging too, Fred Kumanoff, Reagan's new director of the Energy Department's carbon dioxide program, a wolf asked to oversee the henhouse. Both men would testify. Hansen did not disclose to Gore's staff that, in late November, he received a letter from Kumanoff declining to fund his climate modeling research. Kumanoff left open the possibility of supporting other carbon dioxide studies, but ultimately the rest of Hansen's funding lapsed, and he had to release 5 employees, half his staff. He doubted that Kumanoff could be moved, but the hearing would give Hansen the chance to appeal directly to the congressional leaders who oversaw Kumanoff's budget. Hansen flew to Washington to testify on March 25, 1982, performing before a gallery even more thinly populated than it had been at Gore's first.